What is up, my people? Gonna make this quick because I got stuff to do today. Merry Christmas, by the way. but yeah, I want to analyze the fight and give you an actual analysis, because I feel like I came off as a bit of a hater when it came to Andrew Tate. And that's fine. I really don't care. But I do want to give you a little bit more of an analysis. Also, there's a bunch of excuses being made for Andrew Tate, and most of them don't make sense. You know, one of them is that he's old. And to that I say, even when he was young, he would probably get whooped by Shane as well. I have actual clips of him fighting when he was younger, and there's really nothing different. I mean, he's the same guy. He has more muscle now, and he's more stiff because of that muscle. He also gets tired faster because of that muscle that he gained. So muscle isn't always a good thing, you know, to have a lot of muscles. Especially not for a fighter, and especially not for someone with the natural frame of Andrew Tate. You know, but analyzing his old fights and analyzing his recent fight against Shane, I can put it like this: he would have had a hard time against him even in his younger years. Okay, he actually lost this fight here against this guy, and he lost because of a hook, a left hook. And he just couldn't see the punch coming, and he was getting hit by that same left hook throughout the fight, and his opponent kind of knew that he could land that punch easily, with ease, and he was kind of, you know, targeting Tate in that way. Maybe he knew something. You know, I'm thinking that he knew that he had a weakness, and he was capitalizing on that. I know what the weakness is. I'm not going to talk about it right now because that's maybe his private life or whatever. But as a fighter, you have to observe things, and you have to look at the weaknesses of your opponent and capitalize on them. And Andrew Tate has a very big, glaring weakness, technically and just physically. He has a couple, actually. So one of them is that he has a very long neck, you know, and a very sunken, thin-like chin. Now, physically, you know, for a fighter, that's not very good, because you're an easy target to hit, right? Of course, this could be fixed with good training and good proper technique. You know, tucking your chin, and keep your rear hand up, so that you won't get touched, or you won't get caught off guard. You know, I'm not one of these guys that always says, you know, keep your hands up or whatever. I think there's a time and a place for everything, but when you're on the inside, when somebody's going to throw a flurry on you, you want to keep your hands up, or you want to at least keep that rear hand next to your chin, kind of like you're making a phone call. You know, so Andrew Tate he has poor form. He always has, even when in his younger years. So in my opinion, this excuse that it's because he's an older guy, it just doesn't make sense. Another excuse is that, you know, Shane was putting his body on him too much, putting his weight too much on him. This is heavyweight boxing 101. Okay, if you don't know what to do with a bigger opponent, if you don't know how to to do this, you're gonna have a hard time boxing. Okay, a lot of people like to think that boxing it should be pure, or that clinching is bad, and that it's evil, and that you're not a righteous man if you clinch and if you hold and stuff like that. Listen, bro, everybody does it. Okay, everybody does it, especially outside fighters. Why? Because they don't know what to do on the inside, and they want to stop their opponent's inside game. So what do? They clinch. They clinch on the inside. Okay, so if you're not teaching your boxers what to do on the clinch, how to get out of the clinch, how to get combos off on the inside, you're teaching your boxers how to fail. You're teaching your boxers how to lose on the inside. Okay, you're not teaching them complete and total boxing. Right, you're just not doing that, and there's a lot of people like that right now. And in fact, I personally think that because of that, the clinch game is going to be eliminated in the future, because people are going to think that it's bad, and they're going to be like, no more clinching, make it illegal, and it's going to be, boxing is going to be even more watered down than it already is. You know, because compared to what it used to be, boxing is very, very, very tame. You know, like I said, back in the day, you used to be able to grab people. You used to be able to hold people down and punch them. You used to be able to grapple, kick. You know, it's similar to, I don't know if you guys seen that movie Sherlock Holmes, but there's a fight scene in that movie where Sherlock Holmes is doing some bare knuckle boxing, and they're kicking, they're punching, they're holding, they're doing all kinds of stuff. So that was the original boxing, you know, before the Queensberry rules kicked in. The Pillsbury Doughboy rules kicked in. Nah, I don't know. It's a weird name, but my point is, guys, you got to man up, man. You got to man up. And Andrew Tate is the top G. He shouldn't be complaining about holding. If you don't know what to do when people hold you, you don't know what to do with physicality, you don't belong in the ring. You're not a real fighter. You're not Batman like you say you are. Batman adapts to anything. And if he loses one time, he comes back stronger. Can you do that? Mr. Tate, show me. I mean, I'm here for it. But yeah, Andrew Tate, like I said, another excuse, okay, that he's given is that Shane was a really good boxer, and that he shouldn't have taken the fight because Shane was, one of the best in the game. And to that, I mean, listen, bro, like, he wasn't, okay? I mean, it's no way this guy... there's no way this guy is there's no way this guy is a top G, man. The thing about it, this guy sucked, man. This guy sucked bad, you know, and watching you lose to a guy like this lets me know what level you're in. You know, if you don't know how to deal with a guy like Shane, I'm sorry, dude, but you're gonna have a hard time in boxing. It's gonna be hard for you in boxing. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's talk a little bit about the fight. In the fight, guys, Andrew Tate started off okay. He had a go-to punch. His go-to punch was the jab to the body. Right, the jab to the body was his go-to punch. And at first I was like, oh, that's good. That's the sign of a good, intelligent boxer, and he's going to start building from this. You know, he's pretty good. He's going to be good. And then, you know, he kept doing that for another round, which is fine. I'm not going to judge him. Some people, they don't know how to build combos. and some people they don't. They take a little longer to figure their opponents out. Now, for me personally, if I was fighting somebody as bad as Shane, it wouldn't really take me that long to figure him out, and I wouldn't be as hesitant as Tate was. But I mean, and not everybody's the same. So I was like, maybe it's gonna take him longer to figure him out. Maybe there's something about Shane. Maybe he hits hard, which he does, by the way, because the way people act around him when they're fighting him, I think that Shane has pop. Okay, he's not very technical, and he's not very he's not a pretty fighter, but he for sure has power. Okay, but anyways, so but the thing is, Andrew Tate didn't build from that jab to the body. Okay, he didn't build from it, and he became kind of lazy with it. All right, so the jab to the body, the reason he was landing that jab to the body, and it was the only jab he knew how to land, is because the jab to the body is an in and out technique. Okay, you could also use it as an angle attack if you know what you're doing with your feet. But Andrew Tate knew the basics of the jab to the body, which was just in and out movements, and it's very limited, the jab to the body. Okay, and it requires you to use maximum amount of speed to move in and out. Okay, so it's more of a physical attack than a technical. I don't know if you get me. So it requires for you to be fast, right, and quick, jab to the body, and immediately use your athleticism to push out and exit from the same direction. So it's a very, 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 very physical. It requires a lot of your physical abilities to land this shot. All right, so this is why it's used by a lot of athletic fighters. You know, like Floyd Mayweather, Shakur Stevenson, and even Devin Haney. It's not that big of a big technical thing to do. You know, it's just it requires a lot of athletic ability. But the thing about it is that because it's an in and out movement, I could tell that Andrew Tate is a point fighter, mainly a point fighter, and he comes from point style karate. Now, a branch separated from that, or that's right next to that, is full contact karate. And I believe personally, by studying Andrew Tate's fights in the past, and stuff like that, I could tell you that Andrew Tate comes from a point style background, and he's a semi-pro of a league that's connected to a karate style tournament. So, and the thing is, kickboxing is a very loose term. All right, it's a very loose term that I don't know what you're saying. Ignore my text, by the way. That's people just texting me back for the Christmas thing. So what I'm trying to say is that his mentality and the reason he stands up straight when he fights, okay, is because Andrew Tate comes from a karate background. If you know anything about karate, the way they practice their moves is with a straight back and their head held up high, and it's very hard for a lot of karate people to get out of that. You know, and in fact, some of them don't ever get out of that. They have their head held high and their chin up in the air. This is very dangerous for a boxer. Okay, this is very, very dangerous, and it's very hard for them to get out of it. This is why I know after seeing a lot of fights and after sparring a lot, you get to decipher people very easily. You just look at them, look at the structure of their body, Look at the way they posture themselves when they're about to fight, and you could tell the background that they're in, where they come from, and not where they come from as in the country, like where they studied, in what schools. Is he a Taekwondo guy? Is he bouncing? Is he tucking his chin, and does he have a little hunchback? Does he have a thick neck or does he have a thin neck? All of these things tell you where the fighter originates from and what his background is. In my opinion, Andrew Tate is a semi-pro that comes from a kickboxing league connected to a karate style. There's a lot of these types of kickboxing styles. I think Chuck Norris was one of these types of kickboxers. There's so many kickboxers, quote unquote, full contact kickboxers or full contact karate guys that come from these karate styles that make their own little kickboxing leagues. But it doesn't mean that they're actual kickboxers, because like I said, kickboxing is a broad term. They even call Muay Thai guys kickboxers, but it doesn't mean that that the American kickboxers are going to be able to beat up Muay Thai kickboxers, or that they even compare to each other, because they allow different things and different rules in each type of federation. So like I said, kickboxing is a very broad term, and when somebody tells you that they're a kickboxer, it could be anything. He could be a karate guy. He could be a Kempo guy. He could be, a Muay Thai guy. He could be a Dutch boxer, Dutch kickboxer. I mean, he could be a lot of things. So, in that sense, what I'm trying to say is Andrew Tate was never that good. Okay, plain and simple. I always knew that, but when I would say that to people would think that I was just hating. And the fact of the matter is that I was not hating, guys. I was just telling you the truth. Now, when it comes to Andrew Tate, the man, right, and the things that he says, there's a lot of things that he says that I agree with. There's a lot of things that he says that are true and that help people, and he inspires a lot of people with his words. Well, there's right, and the things that he says. There's a lot of things that he says that I agree with. There's a lot of things that he says that are true and that help people, and he inspires a lot of people with his words. Well, there's also a lot of things that are cringe, a lot of things that are not true, a lot of things that will get you in trouble if you do believe those things, and a lot of things that are childish that he talks about. They're very childlike, and this is why he attracts young people or people with the mentality of kids. This is why a lot of kids follow him. I don't know if you guys know, but Barron Trump is a big fan of Andrew Tate, and he's the reason that he got pardoned by Donald Trump is because of Barron Trump. So he's very popular with young people, and a lot of young people like this guy. And to that, I would like to say, just remember, guys, that you have mothers, you have sisters, and one day you're gonna have a daughter, and you're not gonna want to live in a world where guys like this control the world. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say, and I hope that there's a change for the better. And as far as Andrew Tate, he's a good talker, but he's not necessarily a good doer.